Hi folks, it's Steve here from Analytics in Action. What I want to do today is give you a very quick demo on how to create and load a Microsoft SQL Server table using the Integration Services Import Export Wizard. So this Import Export Wizard is a part of Integration Services. Integration Services comes with the Standard and Enterprise edition of SQL Server, it's also available in the trial version and the developer edition, which is essentially the enterprise version of SQL. So what it isn't available in is the free version of SQL Server, which is a bit of a shame, but it's sort of how it goes. So what I'll do today is I will create a table using this text file. So it's just very simple, 2 columns of data, just with some ranking information and company name information. So first thing you need to do is open up SQL Server. So I've got SQL Server 2008 Release 2, but this wizard is also available in SQL Server 2005. Then you click down into it and you want to look for SQL Server Business Intelligence Development Studio. And open that up. What we're going to do is create a new project. In a lot of cases, you wouldn't actually be creating a project to create a SQL table. You'd actually be creating a SQL table within a larger project that you're working on. But for today's purposes, it'll be fine. I'll just leave it with the default name. So what I'll now do is just create a default package, and we can see this in the Solution Explorer here. So I've got package DTSX. So what we do is we now hover over SSIS packages, right click, and you'll see second down is SSIS Import Export Wizard. So we'll just click on that, and now it'll just drive us through a very simple wizard. So first window that we get is we need to choose the data source. You can use this wizard with a whole range of different data sources, but today I'll be pulling in from a text file, which is a flat file source. And now I just need to navigate to it. Here we go. If it's not visible, you sometimes need to play around with this little drop-down menu, but today's text file, so it's visible. Click Open. This is pretty simple sort of configuration here. Normally it gets the text qualifiers and header row delimiters pretty good, so normally don't have to play around with that. Just need to tick the column names in the first row of data. So there we go. That's given you a sort of a preview of the data. It looks pretty good. That demonstrates that the text qualifiers and header row delimiters are fine. So this is where we can play around with the actual text format, the format of the data that we want to bring in. So we could the width of the column or the data type, but I'm just going to run with the default settings here. We don't want to skip any rows. Sometimes if there's sort of 3 or 4 lines of formatting information up above the useful information, you want to just skip those, but again, in this case we don't need to, so just click Next. So the destination is going to be a SQL Server file, so a SQL Server native client 10 is the setting we want, and then we have to define the server name, and that's going to be specific to your own machine or your network environment. So I just need to click on the down arrow. My server name is just called named instance. Windows for the authentication. Most people just use Windows authentication, don't have the additional SQL Server authentication. As for a database, well, I could put this inside another database, but I'm just going to create a new database today. So I'll just call this, database 1. you can now set all sorts of settings here for how, the data file size, how much the database can grow by. But again, I'm just going to run with the default settings today to demonstrate the principle here. So just click OK. That's fine. Now next, we'll go off and create that table. Now we just check to make sure the mappings are fine between the original text file and make sure the mappings are fine. So basically, you can set the sort of format that the column is going to be in. So that looks all pretty good. Varchars. Click OK. Preview that. Again, looks pretty good. Let's go next. Finish. That all looks good. So now it's created this package 1 here, which is the essentially a integration services package which will create and populate the table. You can look at the SQL code here, and it's got a create table bit of SQL code there, so that's done all the sort of hard work for you. That's really about it. So what it's done is it's created the package. We still actually have to run the package to actually create the table. So we just set it running. Just take a second. As soon as it goes green, we know that it's worked, and we can go and actually. There we go. It's it's created the table and populated with 40 rows of data. So now we can go into SQL Server Management Studio, which is the database sort of administration side of SQL Server, and have a look at the table to make sure it's been created. I'll just actually stop the debugging, and I'll just save this. Let's rename this as create table. Yes. Save it. So just duck back into SQL Server Management Studio. SQL Server Management Studio. So now we can just connect to the server. Now on the left-hand side here in the Object Explorer, we'll be able to see the various databases that we've created. So as mentioned, we created a database called Database 1. We're just going to look for the table that we created, which was raw data create table. So that was just the default name default name of that was created. Again, we could have edited that in that little piece of SQL code which I showed you. So now we can just right-click on that and go select top 1,000 rows. There's only 40 rows there, so it's a bit of an overkill, but now it'll allow us to view the table. So that there is all the data. Okay, so that was creating and loading a Microsoft SQL Server table with the Import Export Wizard. If you found this video useful, there are a few other resources that you may find helpful. One is my website, Analytics in Action. That is, this is the website here. It has stacks and stacks of information on integration services, so things about scheduling, packages, the various building blocks, introduction to the basics of integration services, things like standardizing date structures through to the more advanced stuff like variables, you name it, it's there. Also have stacks of other information on reporting, predictive modelling, and also some suggestions on strategies on actually how to learn SQL Server Integration Services. The other option too is to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way, when I produce new videos, you'll automatically get alerted. So I try and produce a video once every 1 to 2 weeks. So I try and keep them coming. So hope you enjoy the video, and hope you'll tune in again.